Hey there folks, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Now, before I begin, I have to say a few words. Firstly, for those of you viewers who are familiar with my work, I'm not just a person who blogs about movies, I'm also an actor who performs at a community theater called Musical Theater Village. So far this year, my friends and I have performed shows such as A Christmas with Scrooge, Hello Dolly, Godspell, Savior, Seussical, and You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. And even though they're doing Little Shop of Horrors next February, I need to let you know that there are a few shows that my theater friends can't do, either because they don't like them or they're not appropriate for the cast. Secondly, I may have said this several times before, that my worst fears is in fact medical doctors, for many different reasons. I mean, I usually get chills whenever I look at their tools and see what they can do. Even in health class, they even gave me the creeps. Heck, I even had to go through many doctor's appointments in my life, and sometimes I had to get a shot or get my blood tested. I even had to get surgery on my wisdom teeth, tailbone, even my left leg. Twice! So, anyway, what film am I gonna blog tonight that includes both musical theater and medicals? Well, let's not waste any more time and find out. Released on November 7th, 2008, the movie is Repo, the Genetic Opera. So, let's get started. In the mid-21st century, an epidemic of organ failures leads to the rise of GeneCo, a company provided by transplants at a great price. Those who miss their payments become targets of GeneCo, mercenaries who repossess the organs. In a world of drug addiction and legalized murder, a shelterized youth seeks a cure for her rare disease, as well as information about her family's mysterious history. Her questions are answered at the Genetic Opera. So, what are my thoughts on this movie? Well, let me just make this perfectly clear. This is not a family film. There is lots of frightening, disturbing, and messed up medical imagery, suggestive stuff, as well as lots of rockin' musical numbers. And I love every bit of it. As long as I ignore all the surgery stuff, though. But anyway, let's move on to Mustang notes and I'll tell you about it. In 1996, Darren Smith had a friend who was going through bankruptcy and whose possessions were going into foreclosure. Inspired by this, Smith came up with the idea of a future where not only your property could be repossessed, but also your body parts. Smith and Terence Zunich collaborated ideas and plot lines to create the Necro-Merchant's Debt, which became the first version of Repo. It told the story of a grave robber in debt to a Repo organ man. It was first performed at the John Riot Theater in 2002. After being such a success, creators Smith and Zunich expanded on the universe to create all of the storylines that became Repo the Genetic Opera later in 2002. Many changes were made gradually to the characters and music throughout the show's various incarnations through 2005. For example, Roddy in the earliest performances was not the father to Luigi, Pavi, or Amber. Instead, he was a younger brother to Luigi and Pavi, while Amber was Luigi's daughter. Lyrics were adjusted to new arcs, and some songs were dropped altogether in an effort to change the direction of Blind Mag's character. After years of being performed as a stage play, Repo was adapted into a 10-minute short film directed and financed by Darren Lynn Bousman to pitch the idea to film studios. Once Repo was picked up by Lionsgate, principal photography began on September 2007 in Canada. The film was scheduled to be released on April 25, 2008, but was pushed back to November 7th. Japan member Yoshiki Hayashi produced the film's soundtrack along with composing one extra track for the film. He also served as one of the film's producers. Paul Massey was the film's vocal coach for the film's soundtrack. Now, since this movie takes place in the future, part of it gives me flashbacks from another rock and roll stage musical that I saw, called We Will Rock You. And speaking of flashbacks, this movie does show some in the form of a comic book. Most of these flashbacks involve the opening prologue, Shiloh, her dad, her late mother, as well as Largo, Blind Mag, and others. Now, I did say earlier that my biggest fear is all the medical and surgeon stuff that happens in this movie, and most of it really gives me chills and the incentive to block my face. However, the more I watch this movie, I try to be brave and ignore it while listening to the songs in the movie. Speaking of songs, most of these songs are awesome due to the fact that they're in a rock and roll style. Some of my favorite songs in this film are, in fact, The Genetic Repo Man, 21st Century Cure, 17, Infected, Night Surgeon, Legal Assassin, At the Opera Tonight, and Let the Monster Rise. However, there is one song in the movie that's barely worth listening to, and it's called Lungs and Livers, for two reasons. One, it's too short, and two, the way it's sung is almost like it's being sung by pirates or Vikings. But anyway, now that we're done with Mustang notes, let's move on to the characters and their actors. Our main character, Shiloh Wallace, is played by Alexa Vega, best known as Carmen Cortez from the Spy Kids franchise. Now, Shiloh is a 17-year-old girl confined to a room due to, the alleged blood disorder she inherited from her mother. She dreams of exploring the world outside of her bedroom, which she considers her prison. While she initially strives to obey her father's rules, she becomes more and more assertive, attempting to earn her independence. Prior to the story, she's been often, sneaking out of her room at night to collect bugs, and shots of her room show that she has an impressive collection. Our villain, Roddy Largo, the alien Gene co-founder and president, is played by Paul Sorvino, known for voicing Shek in Hey Arnold the movie. Largo is a powerful and driven man, having built his GeneCo empire from the ground up, and believes that material wealth is the only real driving force in the world. Aloof and controlling, Roddy regards people as tools and harbors resentment while he was able to cure the globe. He can't prevent his own death, though. He sees his own children, Luigi, Pavi, and Amber, as vultures and ingrates, and is bitter towards Nathan for stealing Marnie from him. He is the one who arranged for Marnie to be poisoned in rage. Shiloh's dad, Nathan Wallace, is played by Anthony Stewart Head, who had a cameo in another dark movie musical, Sweeney Todd the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. Nathan lost his wife Marnie to a death which he blames himself for. He doubles as the head repo man to repay Roddy for fixing the circumstances of Marnie's death with the police. He often laments his late-night duties, but a sadistic second personality tends to seize him, leaving him a vicious killing machine as opposed to the kind-hearted torn father that he is. He is a very skilled assassin, being able to dispatch teams of gene cops using on his, scalpel on multiple occasions to save Shiloh, and performing brutal organ repossessions with such ease that he can carry out a phone conversation with Shiloh at the same time. We also have Blind Mag, played by Sarah Brightman. She's Shiloh's godmother and Marnie's best friend. She was torn blind, but she was given the ability to see by Jinko at the price of having to sing for and publicize Jinko permanently. After seeing Shiloh at the Jinko event, Mag reaches out to her, anxious for Shiloh to not make the same mistakes, Mag has made for herself. She is marked for repossession and is set to deliver her final performance for the company. Next is Roddy's daughter, Amber Sweet, played by Paris Hilton, who had a small cameo in the 2003 Cat in the Hat film. She's addicted to both surgery and Zydrate, which she obtains illegally from the grave robbers, in exchange for sex, that is. She changed her name from Carmela Largo to Amber Sweet as she needed a stage name. Roddy's eldest son, Luigi, is played by Bill Moseley. He usually wears an ascot, wields a knife at all times, and is willing to stab at the slightest provocation. He has a habit of ripping his shirt open, revealing a large surgical scar whenever he states he will take over Jinko. Although this is most likely because at each instance that he does this, something happened to his shirt, such as a gentleman accidentally, bloodying his shirt at the warehouse during the song Mark It Up, or spilling coffee on himself at the Renaissance Fair. He most likely suffers from antisocial personality disorder. Largo's second son, Pavi, is played by Nevik Ogre. Pavi is a womanizer and a narcissistic person. He wears the skinned face of a woman as a mask over his own, which is heavily scarred. Due to the way his face is attached, he's able to change faces on a whim. He has an Italian accent and is almost always surrounded by women, usually genterns and the employees of Jinko, who usually give Pavi his face surgeries. Finally, we come to Grave Robber, played by Terence Zudich, who serves as the film's screenwriter. This guy is a Zydrate peddler who obtains the, insalub chemical from corpses and has connections to Amber, both sexually and as a dealer. He also seems to be Shiloh's first and only friend and explains Zydrate and Mag's death with Jinko to her. Mysterious and charismatic, he acts as the narrator of the post-apocalyptic world. In my opinion, he pretty much steals the whole show, but sometimes I feel that Grave Robber looks a tad familiar to me. Oh my god! I mean, just look at him! He has the same kind of makeup that Hagen would have and has the same hair length. The only thing missing is red gashes on his face. Oh, and in case you guys are wondering, Hagen doesn't know I exist. And hopefully she still doesn't, Otherwise, who knows what she'll do to me. And now it's time to move on to my final words. Overall, Repo the Genetic Opera rocks. It has great characters from Shiloh, Grave Robber, including Largo. The songs are hardcore, but this film is not for everyone to watch, and I can see why my Musical Theater Village friends don't want to talk about it, due to the fact that most of the film is messed up and disturbing. It has some adult language as well, so I cannot recommend this for anyone under the age of 17 to watch this. But for those of you who are at that age or older, you might enjoy this film if you love rock and roll and can handle most of what this film has to offer. So, I give this film a rating of 74% out of 100. It's not bad, it's not really great either, but I still think it's good. Well, that's it for now, viewers. Be sure to join me again for my next Halloween vlog. Mustang Power!